Balteus is the final boss you encounter at the end of Chapter 1 of Armored Core 6. If you've seen AC6 footage in the past month, then this opponent may be very familiar to you. But now that the game has released, we finally get to take him on ourselves, and let me tell you, for me at least, he was pretty tough, and definitely worthy of being called a FromSoftware boss. If you've been having a tough time as well, hopefully something in this video can help you overcome this challenge, and if so, please consider leaving a like. The goal I'm trying to reach is 20, and let's see if we can get 3 more subscribers from this video as well. Your loadout largely depends on your specific playstyle. However, I strongly suggest that for your left arm slot, you equip one of the 2 melee weapons accessible to you at this point in the game. I personally chose the pulse blade over the laser blade because it has a faster attack speed while also giving me the option to strike twice. Keep in mind, this does come at the cost of dealing extra damage and having a longer range, and while the laser blade also hits twice, it has a slower startup and can be pretty risky in this fight. I found that the pulse blade worked better for me and was a personal preference of mine. Melee weapons are good for dealing impact and direct damage, which is vital for taking on this boss, as you'll want to break through his shield and stun him as quickly as possible. For your other 3 weapon choices, again, it boils down to personal preference, but I found that the burst rifle and the twin missile launchers had a good balance of dealing consistent impact and direct damage. I went with bipedal legs and the assault armor expansion. If you haven't unlocked expansions for your mech, I highly recommend doing that first before fighting this boss. His first phase starts off the same every time. He lets out a volley of missiles, and the best approach here is to make your way straight towards him. There's enough time to deal damage to him as you approach, but be mindful to dodge towards the boss and past the missiles as they come down and around you. If you get the timing right, most of the rockets will hit the ground behind you as you dodge boost forward. You should end up within melee range of Balteus, in which case you'll want to take that opportunity to take a chunk out of his shield. You'll want to stay relatively close to him during this phase and dodge to the side or underneath him when he launches his missiles. After you break his shield, unleash everything you have at him while the bar above him is flashing red. But after your first volley, stay firing with your right arm, but preserve your other weapons until the red bar goes empty. This is when you'll want to sync your weapon attacks to fill his impact gauge as quickly as possible. For my mech, I would charge the burst rifle and the missile launchers while I waited, and once the bar goes empty, I'd fire all 3 while flying towards him for 2 melee strikes. This would guarantee the stun if I landed everything, and it would allow me some extra seconds to deal direct damage to him. Once his health drops a little over 50%, you'll trigger his second phase, which is much more dangerous. You'll want to stay further away from him, especially when he starts to recharge his shield. He'll let out an AoE attack that deals some pretty heavy damage, then he'll follow up with a missile and melee combo that could defeat you if you don't get enough distance between you two. He'll also start using flamethrower attacks that leave fire on the ground, dealing damage over time, but all of this can be avoided if you get the distance beforehand and attack his shield from afar. The same applies as before when his shield is down. Keep in mind that when you're close to defeating this boss, he can regenerate his shield, which can be a very frustrating thing that can happen towards the end of this boss fight. I had 2 occasions where I was 1 hit away from beating Balteus, and his shield came back up, and I couldn't survive long enough to take it down and deal that last blow. This is where the assault armor expansion comes in handy, and I'd highly recommend using this move as an offensive tool to deal massive stun damage when you get towards the end of the fight. And if you manage your weapons properly, you should be able to hit him with another volley of strikes and hopefully take him down. Overall, Balteus is a tough boss fight, but he can teach you some of the core mechanics of AC6 that you'll carry on through your playthrough, like weapon management, boost dodging, expansion attack utilization, and patience. I'd love to hear the loadout you were using when you defeated this boss, so make sure to leave a comment, and possibly a like if you enjoyed the video. So far, I've been enjoying my time with the game, and I can't wait to see what else Armored Core 6 has in store for me. I'll keep you guys updated on tutorials, tips and tricks, and some PvP gameplay, so make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. My name is Snake Eyes with 1UP Gaming, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.